making.
Let's spend a moment on the Chinese economy.
Yes.
They've put out stimulus. Some people think it wasn't as extravagant as it could have been, and that there's more coming. And then there's also talk of a lot of distress in the economy.
Yes.
Given that economic data in China is largely a black hole, what's your reading of just how bad the situation in China is?
Oh, the situation is very bad. They have a full-fledged property crisis which is going on. What they're trying to do now is to stabilize the property market. But remember, even China has run up massive debt and deficits. If you look at China's total debt, both public sector and private sector, it's about 300% of GDP. So they're a heavily indebted nation. And the other big problem China faces is demographics. Over the next 10 years, China is going to lose 6 to 7 million people every year in the workforce. So, like in the next 10 years, you're going to lose up to 70 million people. And that's a huge amount of loss. So when you have demographics which are this negative, it's very hard for a country to grow in any meaningful way. So my bet is that I don't think China grows at a rate of more than maybe 2.5% a year for the next decade. Now, what the stimulus and all can do is to try and stabilize the situation where there's no outright financial crisis.
I was speaking to Ian Bremmer at the Eurasia Group, and he made the point that Beijing is likely to make overtures to India over the next several months to try and improve the strained relationship, largely on account of Trump's triumphalism or his posturing. The big debate in India is how should Delhi respond. The Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Defense have a certain point of view. Commerce and Industry has a different point of view. India Inc. has a different point of view. How would you see it, and how does India extract the maximum for itself given the dynamic that's at play?
I think that India has got to remain neutral in this because, as I said, with Trump, I keep using the word repeatedly, the approach is very transactional. There's nothing strategic, which is the fact that tomorrow, let's say that we say that, okay, we don't want to deal with China because we trust America more, and we're going to sort of do everything with America here, and like these overtures from China cannot be trusted.
I don't think Modi trusts anyone.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm saying that, let's just say that happens. The only risk with getting too closely aligned to America is that tomorrow, if America strikes a deal with China, where sort of, they have a, like China strikes a deal with them where they sort of do something, then America can easily leave India out in the cold. So I just don't trust the fact there's anything strategic going on. It's all transactional is the point I'm trying to make. So therefore, I think that we have to keep our options open, and we cannot throw
so
our
my
weight.
question is, do you see more Chinese foreign investment, whether it is FDI, whether it is technical manpower, which India Inc.'s been looking out for? Do you think it's okay and kosher to bring that in, or do we continue to remain highly suspicious given what happened in Galwan and after that?
No, I think that more than that, my big risk with China today is the following, which I think many countries are facing, that they have huge amounts of overcapacity, that the demand's not there in China, and they've built up this massive overcapacity, and they're exporting that overcapacity, and that is very deflationary, and that can hurt a lot of people, including Indian businesses. So I think we have to remain a bit vigilant about that they have really sort of, got overcapacity in solar, EVs, all these industries, they've built massive overcapacity, and this demand's not there. So I'm much more concerned by the fact that how could this dumping impact us, and which businesses can get hurt by this. And I think that's what we have to remain vigilant about. And that's what I think many countries in the world are going to be much more vigilant. And that's what America too is not going to tolerate, this kind of, because if you look at the Chinese growth model in the last few years, whatever economic growth they've got has primarily been led by exports. So that's the irony of it, that on one level, China, you want, like in terms of you are blaming for, like this tariff wars and stuff in a way because they've been exporting so much. But on the other hand, their exports have gone up even more in the last few years. And I think that dumping and that overcapacity in China, which is built, that being pushed out to the global markets is a big risk.